For 22 years, Notepad++ has been the trusted open source tool for millions of developers worldwide. But what happens when the trust is exploited? Today, we are diving deep into one of the most sophisticated supply chain attacks of 2025. A 6-month infiltration that turned this beloved tool into a weapon. Let's start with the scale and attribution of this attack. Who was behind it and how long did they maintain access? From June to December 2025, Chinese state-sponsored hackers known as Lotus Blossom, also tracked as Violet Typhoon, completely hijacked Notepad++'s update infrastructure. 40+ million downloads were potentially at risk, but this was not a mass compromise. Let's do the timeline breakdown. June 2025, initial compromise of shared hosting server. By September 2nd, 2025, hosting provider discovers a breach. Attackers lose direct server access. By December 2, 2025, attackers' credentials finally revoked, ending their ability to redirect traffic. Total duration: 6 months of persistent access. Rapid7 and Kaspersky analyzed the TTP and provided attribution evidences. Attack patterns were consistent with Lotus Blossom APT, which was active since 2009. Their primary targets: government, telecom, aviation, critical infrastructure, media sectors in Southeast Asia. They used a custom malware called Chrysalis Backdoor. But how exactly did they gain this access? Let's examine the attack vector. The attackers didn't break Notepad++'s code. They compromised the infrastructure hosting it. Notepad++ was hosted on a shared hosting server, which became the single point of failure. Attackers gained access to the shared hosting provider's server. The exact initial access vector is still under investigation, but once in, they had the control over the notepad++.org domain. The update mechanism, called WinGUP, Windows Generic Updater, had insufficient signature verification in older versions. This was the critical vulnerability. When legitimate users clicked check for updates, the attackers could selectively redirect specific users to attacker-controlled C2 servers instead of the real update servers. Not all users were redirected, only specific targets. This made detection extremely difficult because most users received legitimate updates. The attacker could intercept the gup.xml file that tells the updater where to download from and modify the URL to point to a malicious server. The downloaded malicious updater wasn't verified properly, allowing arbitrary code execution. Shared hosting infrastructure is a systemic risk for open source projects. Limited funding means limited security resources. Now let's examine who they targeted. Despite having potential access to 40+ million users, the attackers compromised only approximately 12 victims across 4 countries. This was surgical, not spray and pray attack. Kaspersky and Rapid7 shared reports of confirmed victims. Government organizations in Philippines, IT service providers in Vietnam, financial institution in El Salvador, and also individual targets like researchers or activists with interest in East Asia in Australia. Why selective targeting? Mass infections trigger immediate detection. Selective targeting allows persistent access. State-sponsored APTs seek strategic intelligence, not financial gain through ransomware. And lastly, compromising an IT service provider in Vietnam could enable pivot attacks to their clients. Security researcher Kevin Beaumont confirmed that victims experience hands-on keyboard access, meaning human operators were actively controlling the compromised machines, not just automated malware. This indicates reconnaissance, lateral movement, and data exfiltration operations. versions. These attackers didn't just use one method, they rotated their tactics monthly to stay ahead of detection. This shows operational discipline and deep technical capability. Let me walk you through all three infection chains. Chain number 1, from July to August 2025, NSIS installer was downloaded as update.exe. They exploited all vulnerability in ProShow software via DLL sideloading. Metasploit downloader was used using Cobalt Strike beacons. C2 infrastructure that was used was cdncheck.it.com. Then chain number 2, from September to October 2025, NSIS installer, this time significantly smaller, around 140 kilobytes. Execution was done using Lua script interpreter with compiled Lua payload. There was a shell code injection via enum Windows stations API call. Payload was same as chain 1, Metasploit using Cobalt Strike beacons. They changed to multi-command system info gathering using curl to temp.sh. This leads us into chain number 3 from October 2025. Delivery was again done using NSIS installer. Execution was done via DLL sideloading using legitimate Bitdefender binary. This time the payload used was custom Chrysalis Backdoor, and they moved from off-the-shelf frameworks to custom malware, indicating long-term operational commitment. But have you thought why this monthly rotation? Because each rotation made previous detection signatures obsolete. Antivirus and EDR solutions relying on signature-based detection would miss these new variants. This is advanced red team tradecraft applied at nation-state scale. So how was this finally discovered? Let's look at the detection and response timeline. The discovery of this breach wasn't instant. It took months. Security researcher Kevin Beaumont became suspicious in early December 2025 when 3 organizations with interest in East Asia reported security incidents involving machines with Notepad++ installed. In early December 2025, Kevin publishes initial findings on Double Pulsar blog, noting anomalous behavior and connection to temp.sh uploads. After investigation, hosting provider confirms final attacker access terminated. On December 12, 2025, Notepad++ version 8.8.9 was released with critical security fixes to WinGUP updater, enhancing the certificate verification. On February 2nd, 2026, Don Ho, Notepad++ developer, publishes full public disclosure and an apology. Website was migrated to a new hosting provider. From February 3rd to 4th, 2026, Rapid7 and Kaspersky publishes detailed technical analysis, IOCs, and attribution to the Lotus Blossom APT. Let's talk about the remediation actions that were taken. Number 1, website was migrated to a new hosting provider with significantly stronger security practices. Number 2, WinGUP enhanced to verify both certificate and the signature of downloaded installer. Number 3, XML update manifest now signed with XML DSIG, enforced from version 8.9.2. And last but not the least, community notification and incident response coordination was initiated. Don Ho stated, "I deeply apologize to all users affected by this hijacking. I recommend downloading version 8.9.1 and running the installer to update manually." Let's talk about some of the lessons from the response. Transparency is extremely critical. Despite the breach, the community response was measured because of clear communication and rapid remediation. Finally, we should now talk about what defensive lessons can we take from this incident. The Notepad++ compromise is a stark reminder that even the most trusted tools in our arsenal can be weaponized against us. For 6 months, highly sophisticated actors maintained access, deployed 3 distinct infection chains, and achieved surgical precision without causing a mass casualty. So what are the immediate actions you should take? Download Notepad++ version 8.9.1 or higher from their official source notepadplus.org. Verify digital signatures on all downloaded software and check network connections for all the IOCs that we had discussed previously. Supply sidechain attacks are no longer theoretical anomalies. They are the new front line in cyber conflict. With that note, we will wrap up this video. Thanks for watching Decode the Hacks. If you found this video educational, please do take a moment to subscribe to this channel and hit that like and hype button on YouTube so that this video reaches majority of people like yourself who take cybersecurity very seriously. Thanks and stay safe.